Welcome, my friends. Thank you for joining me again. Time to do a little bit of release for the neck and the shoulders. And of course, it can be good to start off with a bit of extra practice. Perhaps you have a friend who can do some massage on your neck and shoulders, some light chopping or just comfortable squeezing of tight spaces. Of course, you can take as long as you'd like to do this practice, both the neck and shoulder release, but also this comfortable preparatory massage. As long as it helps you actually soften and to learn how to relax, then it's all okay. Feels good. Let's do just a bit of basic standing posture. Remember that we want our arms to release along the side of our body so that our chest is open, but also our upper back is open. So do not pull your shoulder blades back toward your spine. Instead, lengthen outward and release. Hopefully by this point you've already learned this particular skill, or at least have an idea of what we're trying to accomplish. And if you don't, if you are new here and you're not quite sure what I'm talking about, then please do check down below for links to introductory classes and, in the very least, the opportunity to start this series on day one, rather than in the middle of a 100-day series. So please do take your time, learn in the correct order. It's always better. The results are better. And then for the rest of us, we can spend a few minutes standing and softening. Releasing your neck of any constriction and holding pattern, allowing your cervical spine to decompress and release your head upward. Allow your shoulders to fall open, sinking, softening. It's as though your elbows grow heavy and your wrists release as they sink. Releasing any held tension within your chest, your upper back, allowing for a sense of qi sinking down to the belly. Your breath is free, your whole body soft. Relaxing your belly and your lower back. It's as though your tailbone settles down toward the ground as it releases. Don't tuck your hips, just let go of your back. Softening further your hips, releasing your glutes, your thighs, any tension around your knees, your lower legs. Even releasing your feet. Releasing all the way from the top of your head to the bottom of your feet. Softening from the center of your spine outward through your arms, releasing to your fingertips. If you know the healing rain practice that is often part of snake and turtle method, you can pause the video and include that here. That's another really wonderful way to begin practice. It sinks your awareness deep inside your body. It prepares your mind in a particular way. Just a wonderful method. And when you're ready, let's do closing. Remember that during this practice, we don't rotate our body around. We want, for this, for the belly and the body to be still, kind of settled stability in the middle of the body, and then you rotate around and through that. This gives a greater opportunity for your awareness to sink in and to circulate. Warming up the back, tailbone, backs of your hips, any space that feels especially tight, needing of attention. Before we continue, let me point out the sinew channel that we'll be emphasizing today. This is the small intestine sinew channel. There are two channels on the little fingers, funnily enough. Hopefully you remember that the heart sinew channel is also on the little finger. On the inside, following along the palm, the small intestine sinew channel follows along the outside of the arm. So from the outside of the little finger, outside of the hand, hopefully you can see this, up toward the elbow. If you were to rub the back of your elbow, this would be the right area. Remember the channels, the sinew channels, spread out across the body, binding at the joints, spreading out, attaching at the back of the arm. It spreads out and wraps around your scapula, your shoulder blades. Ascends upward to the side of the neck. And again, you'll notice these common binding points for the sinew channels. One is here at the jaw, corner of the jaw. Back through here, the mastoid process, this funny corner of the skull here, and it wraps up over the head. And so what we have is a movement that travels up the outside of the arm, strongly emphasizes the shoulder blades, side of the neck and the jaw, side of the face. And again, so as we progress, please pay extra careful attention to releasing and allowing this particular line to open, just to make certain that we're not skipping this in our practice. It's too easy to just emphasize a few that we can already feel and that are already loose. And so we take our time to go through one at a time, each separate line of the body to make certain that they are open and fully expressive during our practice. So let's release one side of the neck and the other, which of course is perfect for this collection of lines traveling up along the side of the neck. As usual, soften your jaw at the corner point. Feel the movement that you're releasing from the shoulder blade travel all the way up, not just the jaw, but to this area here, behind your ear, the base of the skull. Lengthening. Allow that shoulder blade to sink down the back as this line lengthens. Your hands hanging all the way to the side of the hand, tip of the little finger. And I'll just keep repeating it throughout the form. The small intestine sinew channel. Now let's do a little bit of left and right, yin and yang. Softening, lengthening through your leg to the ground, allowing the crown of the head to be released upward. Soften the opposite hip. I pour the weight through. Release the weight through the leg, so this leg also softens, but this empty leg releases completely. The hip drops, the knee is free, the heel becomes light on the ground. But for our purposes, really emphasizing the release, the full letting go of the arm and the shoulder, the neck. This is a wonderful practice to include in whatever daily set you are doing. Excellent. Now a little bit of snake softening its sides, including all of these together. And especially for this small intestine sinew channel, as the hand descends down, feel the shoulder blade sink down your back. Shoulder blade on the opposite side, free and moving, but without clenching. Softening the side of your neck, the jaw, that bone just behind your ear, the connections to that bone. Shoulder blades sink down the back as your palms settle. Sides of your neck release. Allow your breath and your awareness to descend. Freeing up the pelvis bit. I just put my hands here to make it easy to see what I'm doing. If you'd like, you can place your fingertips in through the center of the gua, both directions, making certain that this tight bundle of tissue here is able to release. Again, I'll put my hands here just so you can see the circle. But in my own practice, I like to touch the sides of my hands to this area here where there's a tight group of musculature that attaches at the hip, at the top of the thigh. And this reminds me to keep it soft and open as I circle. It's too easy to grip that space to create the movement. Both directions. And you find that line as you circle where there's a direct opening at this back corner of the neck. Your jaw releases, the shoulder blade sinks. There's a lengthening all the way down the back of the arm to the little finger. One side and then the other. And then when you're finished, gazing down, looking up and down, as you look up, of course, lengthening the sides of your neck, releasing the corner of your jaw, gentle extension of your jaw. Apologize for my voice slowly fading. It's been that kind of week. Let's do a bit of shoulder release. Finding that small intestine sinew line in relationship to the movement of the shoulder blade, the release of the neck. As you lengthen downward, don't allow your head to fall, because you need to be lengthening in both directions of the channel. One softens through and down, the other one releasing upward, shoulder blade releasing in the back. This is how it lengthens and becomes free. One side and the other. Remember that, as I talked about in earlier sessions, one side is stable. You wrap around, closing toward that side, open away from that side. And similarly, the ends of the channel are stable because they're constantly being released and lengthened. Hopefully my voice lasts through the class. I'll have to talk a bit less. I try not to do any pushing of qi into my lungs. Maybe I'll do that too. Keep my voice going. But it's not a good practice to develop the habit of pushing qi around in your body. And this time, one of the stable spaces is this middle line in the body. So you want to make sure it's not loose and free, that it stops you from being able to release your shoulders. But if it becomes stabilized, my sweater's moving around it as well, so it looks like it's moving more than it is. But the center is stable. Although for those of you who are learning how to move your rotational dantian, that of course does take part in the movement. But the center is still stable, which of course is how you move your dantian. For the sake of the channel, the stability comes from this consistent release along this line. Even though other things are moving with and through it, we never grab a hold of it. It's constantly letting go. That makes it very stable, because it's filled with empty space. Find a moment when the shoulder blades are sinking, small intestine channel is lengthening down the back of the arm, your neck is releasing long. Feel that sinew channel fully lengthened and expressed. Let's do a bit of release of your neck in preparation for black snake. Remember, you can use your eyes. lengthening small intestine sinew channel, but maintaining this softness in the front, releasing away. That's one of the central points of the practice, even when we are settling our attention on the other side of the shoulder and the neck. And in this variation that reaches a slightly different space, feel how it relates to these areas. For me, for instance, I feel an especially strong connection with this area here, the back of the jaw and attaching to the space behind the ear. Letting go of your jaw, the base of your tongue. One more time. I will take my headphones off for this next series, so please be extra careful to soften your shoulder blades, to open your neck, your jaw, have an awareness of the side of your face and your head as you turn. You might be able to feel the sinews pulling slightly through here. one side and the other, softening your shoulder blades. You can just let your arm melt alongside. I habitually want to turn it into a different practice, so my body sometimes shapes itself differently than I would like to do it for this. Just letting your arms be soft. Remember, it's that as though your hands want to come behind your head, but not because you do anything with your head or try to pull your arm back. You notice my arm is still in line with my shoulder. I'm just letting my shoulder blade sink, and that is the direction then of my hand. And I turn my waist. Turn the waist to my left, turn the waist to my right. Small intestine channel, turning inward toward the belly. Up in front of the face, as though you're looking at the small intestine channel on your finger. And then spiraling around. Shoulders soften, crown of the head floats up, tailbone sinks down. Top goes up, the bottom goes down, and then you soften through. Everything settles through your body to your feet into the ground. Again, small intestine channel sliding up. Let's just do this one more time on either side. Letting go all the way before you start the next one. That's the case with all of our practices. Finish one before you start the next. Yeah, let's do a bit of black snake, twisting around a tree. Keep aware of the small intestine channel. Make sure that it's being expressed and opened. This is a wonderful practice for it. I'll take my headphones off so that I can turn my head a bit more easily. But please do be aware of this line here at the back of the neck, reaching to the shoulder blade, down the back of the arm. I'll just keep saying it to remind you. That one felt particularly good for that particular channel. I like it. Let's do a bit of preparation for white snake. Softening down. Crown of the head continues to float up, even when the hands sink, so don't let your chin fall forward. Lengthen your spine. Shoulder blades fall down your back. Circling around this small intestine channel, pivoting around the ulna in that channel, pivoting around that channel, falling down. If you don't know what I'm talking about, don't worry about it. It's just an additional detail that helps to emphasize this particular channel today. As you lengthen to the tip of the middle finger, the little finger, shoulder blade sinks, your neck extends, your jaw releases, crown of the head floats up. You even wiggle your ears a little bit. And if you do that, please send me a video. Lengthen outward, especially along that particular channel for today. And then lengthen from your lower back through your hips to your feet. So your whole body is spread out, softened long. Open, pushing away from you with your palms. Palms move away from each other so that your arms are lengthened outward. And then you soften around the circle, your shoulder blades soften down your back. For this one, let's release all the way down, leading with small intestine channel on the way down. It's like someone's gently lengthening by pulling on your fingers all the way down. Shoulder blades slide down your back. And then closing. Little white snake spitting out its tongue. In English, I should say sticking out its tongue. The Chinese, for some reason, they use spitting out its tongue. your shoulder blades sink. And you notice when my shoulder blade sinks, this whole small intestine channel lengthens for a moment. I release my neck long, my jaw softens, my lower back releases, my chest opens and closes, pouring the weight forward and back to release the hip, releasing the hips. Wonderful practice if you let everything move correctly. Easy, soft, and open, continually lengthening your elbows outward. Don't let them come back behind you. Don't lean back. Don't arch your lower back. I know that for a lot of you, you haven't worked yet specifically on the lower back, but please do keep this open. Spread backward beneath your shoulders. Your hips rest so that your lower back can be free. Your neck can float upward. Don't start collapsing as you practice. Oof, doesn't feel good to even do it for a moment. Turn your waist. Keep your shoulder and shoulder blade free. Lead with your fingertips, especially here in the back. When you reach the back, don't start pulling your elbow forward. Continue to lead with your fingertips around the circle. Otherwise, your arm will get stuck behind your back. Again, this is the opening for the snake and turtle form. You lengthen beneath your arm and around, pivoting around small intestine channel as you do it. Lengthening along that line. Here, your shoulders quiet, leading with your fingertips. Here at the bottom, letting go all the way so that your arm lengthens around the circle that way. Don't just lift your hand up. Go around the circle, lengthwise. Your whole arm gets longer. I know it's a very difficult direction for people to sense, but it's very, very important. rotating around that small intestine line, at least along the arms. All of this closes inward as your chest settles. Shoulder blades maintain that softness in the back, softening the sides of your neck, your jaw, crown of the head floating upward. Constantly expressing the length of this channel. Tomorrow we'll be discussing sinew channels relating to the legs, and so things will get a bit more complicated. This is still a neck and shoulder release series, but we have to understand all of the sinew channels to recognize how everything relates to everything else. So we'll still be talking and moving all about the shoulders and the neck, but I'll be trying to relate it to how we release the hips and the lower back. So I hope you're looking forward to it as much as I am. Again, lengthen outward, and just as I'm talking about the hips and the legs, as we release long through the hips and the legs, all of this settles outward, releasing from the middle out. I'm going to assume that by this point you are already comfortable with the golden snake movement. You don't need me to talk you through it. But just in case you're still having difficulty, remember that there are lots of videos on YouTube, even more on Patreon, many hundreds on Patreon, that will help talk you through movements like this. So take your time. There's no rush to try to learn anything. The lessons are all there. The skill is just waiting for you. Learn it the right way, by going slowly. Don't try to hurry through a learning process. Explore it. Even, as we're doing here, one sinew channel at a time. This half of this movement to me, for some reason, has an especially strong effect of opening and lengthening this channel. Softening through, your shoulder blades sink, releasing all the way to the tips of the little finger. Make sure that as these things sink, the crown of the head stays released upward, the neck is soft and long, your jaw is relaxed. Closing. Lengthening your neck, your throat, your jaw. Full body motion, a wave, traveling down to the feet. And then hands sliding around the waist, opening along the front of the body without collapsing your back. Folding at the hips, allow your hips to travel back, lengthening your spine without rounding your back. Softening all the way from the tailbone to the crown of the head, and traveling back up, letting your hips come forward. Don't lift with your back. That's one of the most important qualities of this practice, is to teach you to let your hips travel back, so the weight of moving up and down is just in your hips and your legs, the stronger part of your body, rather than collecting your lower back. If you're not sure if you're doing it right, please do feel free to reach out to me. Send me pictures or a video, and I'm happy to correct you. We have to do our best with this virtual style learning system. And then, turtle drinking qi, a mixture of those. Softening down and through. Releasing along the back half of your spine, especially your lower back, releasing your neck. And then, flowing up and around the circle, a wave opening the front of the body, and then softening down. Pause until your blood pressure is regulated. In the same way that before I was allowing my hips and my legs to lead the motion so that I'm not lifting with my back, the same thing is happening here. As my hips sink and travel under, my head lifts, and so my legs and my hips are pushing my head up. That way I don't have to use my lower back to push myself up. Feels good. Whole spine lengthens. Your hips and tailbone sink a little bit to lengthen from both ends, and then release all the way around from your wrists to your shoulders, down your spine. This comfortable wave sinks down. By the way, at the top of this movement, if you don't like it, you can certainly leave out this little circle that we do. Sometimes we do it, sometimes we don't. I like it within the neck and shoulder routine because it's very lubricating for the neck and for the shoulders. A lot of people find it helpful if they have great pain in their wrists or their hands. So do feel free to spend extra time here if it helps you. And if it's just irritating, then leave it out and simply sink down. This is your Qigong practice. You find what helps you. Remember that on the way up, you lead with the crown of your head, not your back. So you're practicing proper sinking and rising mechanics as well. Your whole body's soft and free and open. Notice the difference in your shoulder blades, sides of your neck, your jaw. Oh, feels great. Remember that as you twist here, you're turning at the waist, you're not turning your hips and your knees. If anything, as I turn to my left, my right hip actually opens, my knee actually opens a tiny amount outward. If I exaggerate, you see it push out, not that much, but that direction. It's too common that people twist like this. Please don't do that. releasing deep through your neck and your shoulders, especially along that particular line, but all the way into the bone as well. Sinew channels are quite superficial, but for this set, we let our awareness settle into our body. Waiting until your hands are nice and warm, in case maybe you're outside or your hands are just chilly for some reason. Put them on a cup of tea. Warm them up however you need to, but do not place cold hands against your body. Thank you very much. So just as a reminder, we have thus far worked on 6 sinew channels as we go through this sinew channel Chinese medicine discussion series. Try to keep track of the ones we've learned so far: the lung, the large intestine, the pericardium, the triple warmer, the heart, the small intestine, and next we'll be moving on to including the legs. So we want to be certain that you're not just leaving these behind in your practice. Keep track of them, slowly learn some Chinese medicine. It is difficult, of course, to try to learn a new map of the body, but that's the reason we're learning it, because part of understanding Qigong is understanding traditional Chinese medicine and Taoist theory and these things. So we're trying to include bits and pieces of these. As you progress in each of these 100-day series, I'll keep teaching Chinese medicine, Chinese philosophy as best I can, so that you have the chance to grow. We can do a little bit of knee release. Some people have complained about knee tension during practice. That small intestine sinew channel line we were just working on is one of the more common I've discovered in the clinic for people to develop pain, discomfort, stiffness, this kind of thing, distension, swellings. It just seems to be an area that is easy to injure for various reasons, environmentally or through incorrect movement practices. And there are a lot of ways to treat it, of course, through movements like we've been working on here, Qigong practice. Physical movements like scrubbing and massage can be really helpful. There are methods called gua sha, which is a kind of scraping that tends to be really helpful for the sinew channel. If cold makes your pain and stiffness worse in any of these lines that we're working on, please do take some time to warm them up. See if that's helpful. Remember at the beginning of this set I showed that infrared lamp. That can be particularly helpful. And so if you are doing some standing at the beginning of the practice and you know that heat will help to loosen you up, please spend 20 minutes, half an hour, 40 minutes warming and releasing those areas of the channels that are stuck, especially the sinew channels. And then they'll become loose, warm, and pliable, like warm taffy starting to move. It's literally a warm-up before your practice. And then your Qigong will become much more effective. Your mind will be more quiet, your emotions more stable, because everything is interrelated. So please do take the time to prepare correctly for your practice. And of course, to end correctly. In any case, I'm very glad that you're here, joining me every day. Gosh, another 80 or so to go. Stick with it. You're going to be so loose and free at the end of it. Thank you very much. See you tomorrow.